I am Rasija Nambiar and I work with Eriko Iwatate in the Regulatory Support Office in HRPP. In the last Research Matters, I had discussed regarding how to do annual updates. So today I'll continue with this how-to series and go over how to do the record updates. So let's get started. What is this about? So record updates are very similar to modifications. Why do we have to do it? Well, it's required by federal regulations. Just so you know, not doing record updates is also considered non-compliance. In fact, I just attended an IND-ID work group yesterday, which is run by CTSA Institution, where I got to know that one of their sponsor investigator was recently audited by the FDA, and the FDA requested the sponsor investigator to update the ct.gov record since their record was not up to date. So please keep in mind that if you are audited by the FDA, they will find out that you haven't updated your ct.gov record, which is considered non-compliance. So when do you have to do it? In general, at the time of protocol amendments. Operationally speaking, timing of record updates in ct.gov, submitting modification in ERB, and protocol amendment to FDA if sponsor investigator is IND-ID holder are almost exactly in parallel. Please note that our office provides assistance in each stage for both ct.gov reporting and IND-ID support. The regulations require that some data elements be updated more rapidly, as summarized in the table here. For example, recruitment status, primary completion date, etc. I just wanted to remind you that once you finish recruiting, you would change the recruitment status to active not recruiting. And at that time, you would need to upload one copy of the IRB approved version of unsigned consent form, which was used to enroll the participants in clinical trials conducted or supported by a common rule department or agency. I'm saying this because we have noticed that this consent form uploads have not been done consistently. In addition, if a protocol is amended in such a manner that changes are communicated to human subjects in the clinical trial, the regulations require that updates to any relevant clinical trial information be submitted not later than 30 calendar days after the protocol amendment is approved by the IRB. Next, coming to which kind of records require these frequent updates. It is required for all active records, regardless of funding source, that is applicable clinical trials, NIH-funded clinical trials, and for trials for which registration information was voluntarily submitted. Then finally, you would want to know how to do these record updates. I've created a step-by-step guide that will soon be available on our website. Now let's review these steps in the next few slides. This is a high-level overview, and I'll quickly go through each step explaining how to navigate through the system. The first step is to log into your PRS account with your username and password, as you see in the snapshot here. If you don't have an account or encounter any issues logging in since you have forgotten your username or password, then please email us and we'll help you get it set up. Then the next step is to click on the open link on the left-hand side of your ct.gov page in order to open your record. Once you are on the record summary page, click on the open link on the left-hand side to go within the protocol section to do the record updates. The next step is to open each specific section that needs to be updated within the record. In the next few slides, I've tried to show some examples of these record updates. This is a slide showing an example of overall recruitment status update. You would need to click Edit to go into that specific section. As shown in this bottom image, you would click on the drop-down arrow to update the overall recruitment status of the trial. This would need to be made within 30 calendar days after the change has occurred. Similarly, you would go to the Sponsor Collaborator section to update the responsible party field if there is a change in PI, as shown in this bottom image here. This slide shows an example of the oversight section that may need to be updated if there are any changes, like updating your IRB approval status. Updates to the eligibility section includes updates like changes to the inclusion or exclusion criteria. Once you save all the changes that need to be made, you can click on the record summary link on the left-hand side corner that takes you to the main record summary page as shown on the next slide. Then you click this Entry Complete button that you will find on the main record summary page. The final step is to request the responsible party, that is a PI, to review the complete record, as the responsible party must verify the accuracy of the clinical trial information being submitted, and then click the green Approve and Release buttons to submit the record for ct.gov review. So again, to summarize, these steps will help you easily do your record updates. If you still have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Many of you know we maintain all records compliance. I'm going to quickly present our monthly metrics. As you see here, with everyone's efforts, we are able to achieve 100% compliance since January, as per the FEDA non-compliance trial tracker website. And in September 2, we were able to maintain 100% compliance. Again, important to note that this 100% compliance is for FDA-regulated applicable clinical trials only and does not include NIH-funded trials that are not applicable clinical trials or trials that are voluntarily registered. This is our monthly metrics, which shows overall real-time compliance for all UT Southwestern records. Our goal is to keep the problem records as low as we can. The FEDA problem records are indicated here as red. The non-FEDA problems are indicated as orange, while the green ones are the records with no problems, and the blue indicates the total number of records. Here is a list of resources for your reference, and we also provide training in person if you need any help doing these kind of updates. This is my last slide. Here is a selected list of resources that would be helpful for you. And at Next Research Matters, we are starting with our next series of how to avoid major comments. Thank you all for your time listening to me, and I'll take some questions if you have, or you can always email us and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you. Over to you, Josh.
Thank you, Razija. While we're waiting for some questions to come in, I did want to just be absolutely clear for the research community, because this is a new requirement with the new common rule about the posting requirement for consent documents. So this applies to any study that is supported by a common rule supported agency. So that includes any of the agencies that have signed on to the common rule, and there's a list online, and we can always clarify that list specifically for you, but it includes the NIH and about 18 to 19 other agencies that have signed on to the new common rule.